Hi gun people! Well, doing some little gun cleaning vids here. Get my gloves on. See if I can keep that. We getting shadows moving? Damn, we are. I wasn't getting shadow movements until I moved into the camera. Because I looked before. Really wish I could get that freaking shadow crap figured out. Kind of a pain in the butt. What if I hang some light reflectors? Does that help? Not really, huh? Crap. Alright, so what I have here is a called the Amigo. Really like that gun. It's a nice little gun. This is one of my pawn shop projects. Had a little rust on it. I don't think it was in that bad a condition. It didn't look real clean though. So I'm going to clean that one up. I'm putting some tung oil on the grips here. These grips are really bad. I took a couple of videos of them before. I'll try to add them in so you can see what they look like after they're done. This is an old little 350 or a little 38 special that these grips go on. And it's funny, the old Smith & Wessons, they used to put the serial number on the grips that match the gun. So these grips, you know they're original because they match the serial number matches the serial number on the gun. This thing's been carried a lot. See a little bit of a pitting over there. Still in relatively pretty good condition. See that little pin barrel right there? That means it was the older. That's when they used to pin the barrels in to make them a little bit more secure. And it's considered a better way. They stopped doing it because it's cheaper not to do it now. So if you find any old revolver that's got a pin barrel, that's a good thing. But I'm going to work on this one, and I have this one, my AK here, that I dug out, that I need to clean up. It's just been sitting in its little hiding place. I redid this wood a while ago. This wood came out pretty nice. I forgot what I put on it or how I did it. I did a video on it, but I haven't seen this gun in a while. When I pulled it out, I go, damn, that wood looks pretty good. So this is the it's a folding stock AK, and it should go right around the magazine if it's correctly done, and then it locks up there, so it can be a pistol or a rifle. But it's because of the long barrel, it's not classified as a pistol. So pretty nice though. I put a little bit of duct tape right there just to stop that from hurting my wood, which isn't a big deal. But I mean, usually I keep it open anyway. But I could tell it's got some dust on it from sitting around, and so I'm going to go ahead and work on this bad boy. But I may or may not do a video on that. Let's get on this sucker right here. So the Amigo is really, and I can't remember what I put on these grips either. I'm going to go ahead and pull the grips off this. Some people are really concerned about keeping their screws in the same one that came out. I think I've ran into it maybe once or twice to where when I switched screws, one screw didn't want to thread back in the another hole, and it went in its hole, and I was like, what the hell's causing? I didn't really mess with it. I just put the screw back in the right hole. But is it a big deal? I don't know. If you want to lay your screws out bottom and whoa! That little sucker was on there. Oh, I know why. Because I see these little rubber grips right here. I like these little finger grips, but they're just an add-on that you can order, and it's a piece of plastic that you wrap around the finger so then you put your grips over it, and it makes the grip fit a little tight, which is why you got that that pop out Damn, I can't even pop it out with a bent one. Woo! Alrighty. And then this plastic piece right here just kind of peels off and unwraps. I really like these. I would highly recommend it. The finger grips make a difference, and it's a nice little addition to a gun. This gun did not have that. I did add that. And of course the grips right here. This rubber almost gives them like a padding also. But it keeps the wood on plastic, and it keeps plastic on your... so you really want to make sure these are cleaned and oiled. You could tell where the plastic has been sitting on there a little bit. Made a little square, so we'll get that cleaned up. I haven't really looked at this to see how... Okay, so this one has on the guide rod here, it's got the little hole right there. So I need my little paper clip to stick in there, and then pull this little pin out here. We'll let this go forward. It'll lock that up, so this will come out, and then that's how that goes back together. So I'm going to take this spring apart because I don't know when the last time I cleaned this one really good. And we'll pull this out. This has kind of the bigger barrel at the end, so it doesn't have a bushing to lock. So when this goes in, it kind of locks up on the barrel here and solids up that way because it fits the barrel. So instead of having the bushing, it's just got that bigger barrel. Is that a huge thing? I kind of like it. It's a short little barrel. So the inside looks pretty good. I think I see some rusting right in those little grooves where I say it's neglected. I'm going to stick a Q-tip in there, and I bet you I get some rust. Let me get a clean one. And I got a little strike hold here. And I'm going to put this clean Q-tip in these little bushings right there. Look at all that junk. Not good. So this definitely needed. Now, for some reason, it doesn't look like rust. It almost looks like some sort of a grease or lube. So I'm kind of, but it didn't look good in there. So this one definitely needs cleaning. And since there was rust in the locking area, that means I'm probably going to get some in this locking area, which I'm not going to know because I'm using the same one. But, and you can tell I put this on a polisher and polished this up. I've got a little spinning wheel, put a little rouge on there, and stainless steel. It just makes it really smooth. Makes it easier to clean, easier to oil. And I also beveled this edge. This was just a straight barrel, and I kind of put that beveled rim around there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out the firing pin on this one. If you've never pulled out a firing pin, this little piece right here slides out, but you have to push this in, which is the firing pin. So I'm going to push this in and then slide this forward. This little piece should come out like so, and it releases your firing pin, and then your firing pin and spring comes out, which gives you access to that hole. And that's kind of a neglected area because every time that thing hits a primer, you get a little black back blow and crap gets in there. Now I really doubt if that's going to be dirty, but I will put a little Q-tip down it and see what it looks like in there. Clean Q-tip. And got a little junk. Don't like that, but... And I have done this, before I put this gun away, this gun is has had all this done. So for me to get things, that tells me that whatever I had in here wasn't giving it good protection. And I was using rim oil for a while, and the more I learn about rim oil, the more I want to make sure and go back and remove it and put good stuff on all my guns, because that rim oil is junk. And I mean, I use it instead of water, like to spray something out. Got a little bit of dirt out there. The way I'm getting dirt out here, I'm wondering if I shot this a couple rounds and then never cleaned. Somebody came over and went, "Hey man, I want to shoot a gun. Can I shoot that?" And I probably shot him. I'm thinking this might be some lube. I might have used some, what's that CV19 red line stuff? I might have used some of this in there, because the colors I'm getting off is kind of this. So it may not be rust. It may be that lube. But hey, it's always good to give your guns a little good cleaning once in a while. Keeps you familiar with the gun, keeps you with the workings of the gun, lets you identify areas that may or may not be lacking or missing, or so this batch came out. When I start getting dirty Q-tips, my first thought is, why is my gun not clean? Now, strike hold is a good rust remover. I don't know if it's a good rust protectant. Are removers good protectants? I'm not sure. So I'm still getting some good junk out of that tube there, which tells me I really got to clean this tube and that spring good, because I don't like getting that. I should be having a good clean Q-tip in there. Where's my brake free? Put some brake free in this little sucker. And this Q-tip is pretty much going right out the hole there where the firing pin goes. So getting this area also, this bolt face, is a kind of neglected area as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put a patch here, see if I get some dirt or something off this patch. Put a little strike hold on here. Not too much. Looks pretty good. Little bit, not a lot. That got more than I liked off this top. So this top is like what's called a brushed finished, and then the side is a polished. Some people like the brush dull because it's less reflective for combat. Some people say this is more tolerant. This just shows up, scratches more, it's more pretty, and it reflects light more. So, personal preference. I try not to get into what is the best and the worst. This little Meagle has a pretty good bluing on it. I've always liked the finish on this gun. So oh, got a little bit on the inside there that I didn't like. Yeah, see, that patch is getting way too dirty and rusty in here. I don't like that. But I like the fact that I'm catching it. No matter how you keep your gun, you're going to just have... Now I could... This has an external extractor, and I could pull this extractor out. I may go ahead and pull that out since I'm getting a little rust here. Now this extractor comes out right here. The extractor is actually a little hook on the inside here that hooks around and extracts it back. So by prying this little thing up right here, nice and soft, I'm not using a lot, it should pop that up. Wow, I'm surprised that's see, it kind of spinned a little bit and got out of place. So I have to get right underneath there. Get a little screwdriver. And sometimes these can be kind of hard to get in and out. So I got it out a little bit more. But I'm kind of having a hard time getting something to hook on. Because it's spinning on me. There I go, got a little bit there. I was able to get that hook, so I should be able to pull it out now. So sometimes twisting it when you're pulling will get it out, and that's your extractor. So this is the thing that you don't want banging on the round when it goes around. So I'm kind of interested. So this patch is pretty clean right here. I'm going to use this corner of this patch here. Let's see what kind of stuff I get off here. I got more dirt than rust, so that's a good thing. So I'll get a little clean patch here and get a little strike hold on there. Make sure there's no rust. Hey, I'm not getting any rust. I'm glad. We'll see what I get when I get in that hole. So there's that little bitty groove right there that I really can't get in, and that's when a pipe cleaner comes in really handy. Get that pipe cleaner in there and you can just really clean that out. So this actually was pretty clean. I'm pretty happy with the extractor. Now I don't know if I'm happy with the extractor tube that I pulled it out of, because again, those are neglected areas that people don't get in and clean. So I'm going to go right in that same hole that the extractor came out of. It's going to come out there and see what kind of more dirt than rust, so that's a good thing. So when I'm putting this in here in this hole, I'm not just sliding it in and out. I'm bending it this way and putting pressure down here. Then I'm bending it towards you and putting pressure at the bottom. Then bending it away and putting pressure. So I'm not just sliding this out, letting this Q-tip, because it's not tight enough. This is actually giving me some good grinding by bending this in different directions as I'm going in and out in order to make sure that I'm getting a good cleaning. Alrighty. Well, those two tubes look pretty damn good. I'm happy with that. Oh, I still got a clean side on this tip here. Let me go ahead and hit the rails with some of the strike hold. Right in those little rails. Amazingly enough, The rails, I don't find a whole lot of rust a lot of times. So, so I still got a little dirt in those little grooves, so I'm going to do those again. Because I should have gotten all that off and I didn't. So I want a good, clean, fresh Q-tip. And I really want to work those crevices. And again, I don't know if that's oil or previous lubricant. It looks like there's a little rust in there. Alrighty. Now, I've already, before I turn this on, I got each of these little grooves with a Q-tip, and I scrubbed each one of these little grooves and made sure I got every one of them to make sure there's no rust, because those always are neglected areas because people don't get down and take time. It's really detailed. So I've already done that, which is why you're not seeing anything. I didn't get a whole bunch out of there, but I did get a little bit. But you guys didn't see that. Again, sight corners are always little rust hiding places. Okay. Oh. I only use one side of that Q-tip. So, this is done pretty good. I want to get this firing pin and spring done. See what kind of looks on that. Now, this firing pin, you notice it kind of holds this spring. If I put this spring on the other end, it probably won't do that, but let's see. I'm going to twist it. I'm going to flip this around and see if this holds it. It doesn't. So when you put it back together, you want to make sure the tension side. Very difficult to tell which side is bigger, kind of like on the M1 that I found, but one side is loose and one side I have to push down. It fits firmly and kind of have to twist it into place. That's the way it needs to go back together. Alright? Is that critical, the end of the world? I'm not sure. I got a little dirt, maybe a little rust removal there. This firing pin is surrounded by the spring, and then the spring and the firing pin is in that little crevice or hole. And a lot of people don't pull those out. So, every once in a while, and what you see me doing here is there's a little groove right there and there's a little lip right there. And what I do is when I put it on the cloth, I actually hook my fingernail right there. You can't see my fingernail, but I'm actually hooking that cloth in there and then spinning this to get in that crack. Same way here. I'm going to hook my fingernail down and then spin this with this cloth so I'm getting a good crevice clean there. I'm hooking that female or that fingernail right down on there. Start talking about crevices and female came out. What's up with that? Okay. So that's the firing pin. That's good. This little spring, these are pretty difficult to get in because they're so small. So I'm going to clean the outside real well. Put a thing. And then I think I can get a Q-tip down the middle of it. See, I got a little piece of string there. I don't want to leave that in there. Somehow I got a patch or something caught in there. So I think I can get, okay, I can't get a Q-tip down here, but I can probably get a one of these down here, pipe cleaner. So because I can get a pipe cleaner, I need to get some oil on there. Now I can either put the oil on a pipe cleaner first, or I can put it on now and then give it a good internal cleaning. And I'm spinning the spring I'm going back and forth while I'm spinning. And that should get my screen. Now this, remember, right now I'm cleaning and using this strike hold to remove any rust. I need to go back and make sure I get some oil on there. And I can either use the Go Juice or the Break Free or anytime you have a hole, you need to stick something in it, because those are your rust spots. And this one looks pretty good. So what this hole does is your firing pin, it actually retains it so it can't go through. So when I slide this up here, I have to compress the firing pin to get it past here. I slide this in the slide, and then the firing pin spring pushes this back in, and then that holds the firing pin. And then every time you fire a gun or the hammer, squeeze the trigger, the hammer hits this firing pin. It goes forward, fires the bullet, and bounces back out. And that's those three little objects there. This is pretty clean. Not getting anything off this. Those little grooves, anytime you got grooves, man, you gotta get in there. People neglect little groove points. And anytime I clean a buddy's gun or something, I always get rust out of these little groove areas, because they're neglected. I didn't get any. So, alrighty, so that one's done. Now I'm going to take this spring apart here. I have to compress this down, which will let this come out. Remember how it goes back together. There it is. This piece comes off top. That's an unfinished spring. The spring comes off. That's a finished spring. So it goes this way to get an even thing on the guide rod. Finished goes on the guide rod. Unfinished always goes in your little clips or caps or whatever. Alright? So those are three things that I need to do. Obviously I can get something around this spring. So I'm going to put this in here. In between. Put a little strike oil on there. Strike hold. Spin this out one way. All the way. And didn't get much. Got a little bit. Do the same thing, going the other way. And got a little bit, not much. So the spring's good. My guide rod. Alrighty. Guide rod, holder, spring retainer, whatever. Rick, it's called a whatever. I don't know what it's called. I'm just making this shit up because I know people like to hear certain little names. Somehow it gives you credibility if you know the right name. And I never bought into that. But got pretty good on the inside of this. Got some good dirt out of there. More than I would like. But that's why I do this. It's supposed to storm out here today, so it's a little, so those 3 pieces are done. This is pretty much done. Put all my pieces back over here. Get into here. See that right here? On a good gun, this is really smooth, and you can tell like the cuttings on that. So maybe the tool was easy. This gun doesn't, now I really like this gun, but it doesn't look finished very well. Yeah, see, I think that's Molly coming out of there. I bet you I put some Molly on here. Because that's what I think I'm getting out of here. And Molly is, I mean, I don't have a problem with Molly. I clean my guns so often that the odds are I'm not going to get a lot of issues. So some guy commented, and people need to really understand, I know not everybody's into education, but I'm an educator. I got my bachelor's degree in education. I taught a lot at colleges and academies, and so, you know, you have to make sure your message is received. And if you don't, then you just waste your freaking time. This guy wrote a nice fucking long comment. Oh, I said effing, sorry. He wrote a nice freaking comment, and I still couldn't figure out what his point was at the end of the comment. And I mean, the guy was trying, but I'm like, dude, make your damn comment so I get your point. And it was about this solid piece here on my 911s. Remember I said I like the ones that are solid and cut out versus the one that are completely cut out. And he went into this long dissertation comment about it's a frame, it's a cracked, and that's why they use this one versus, and I couldn't tell which one I couldn't tell at the end of the sentence whether this, he was saying this is better or this is not better. I couldn't tell. And I think what he was trying to say is when you cut a hole like this, you usually get stress fractures right here. So by cutting it straight, you remove this stress fracture point that stretches. I don't think that's a good thing. If the engineers engineer this way, and now you're cutting this out because it's failing, then you should build this up or engineer it better. I don't think because something fails, we'll just cut it out because of stress. And that may or not be what he was saying. Again, couldn't understand his damn comment. And it could be me. Everybody else may read that comment and go, man, I understand it fine, Rick. I don't know what your problem is. But the problem is when you make a comment, you need to make it so everybody can understand it. Otherwise, you don't help anybody. You waste your freaking time. I'm assuming you're writing a comment to help people. And if it doesn't help anybody, what's the freaking point? I mean, I don't want to do cleaning videos and have people leave and be like, man, I don't know what the hell he was doing. He didn't show it. And he said this was important. I hate when I get comments like that because I know I failed. Communication is 3 points. Sender, receiver, and feedback. You have to look at the feedback to ensure that your message was received the right way. And there was this one story I used to tell about confusion and feedback. So, and I'll tell that little story here. So when you, in the Philippines, if none of you have ever been to the Philippines, if you go up this mountain, there's a place called Baguio. And it's way up on this mountain, and it's just cool. I mean, Philippines is 100 degrees, humid, etc. You go to the top of this mountain, and you're literally in the clouds. And it is so cool and green and more. I mean, it's just freaking gorgeous. And we used to go up there and train because it was high altitude, and it would climatize us. I think we went up there because the bosses like to go up there with the Filipino woman it was a great little resort, and they figured out a way to make the Air Force pay for it. But we would go up there and run and train, and all the supervisors that were supposedly training us or in charge of the team would just party and hang out with the women. But I digress. So anyway, Baguio is a place high up on a hill, and when you're driving up to Baguio, you are on like the side of a freaking mountain to where you could fall off at any point. It's not what I would call a safe or comfortable ride or experience. So you're driving up to Baguio and you're going up this big circle to get to the top of the mountain. You just keep circling the mountain at a slow end grade until you get to the top. Well, because you're circling, there's a lot of blind corners and stuff. So you got to be careful, and sometimes traffic goes slow, etc. So there was a cop, we'll say he was a canine handler, and he's driving up to Baguio with his dog in his police car. And he comes around a corner, and he's driving and driving, and right as he comes around this one blind corner, this guy sees him, rolls down his window as they pass, and yells, "Pig!" And the cop yells back, "Asshole!" And then the cop pulls around a corner and hits a boar in the highway. And so we had a sender, the guy that said pig was sending a message. We had a receiver who received the message, interpreted it wrong, and yelled back at the person, "Asshole." And because it was inappropriate and the message was understood, he ended up getting in an accident. So that's the story for communication. You have a sender, receiver, but you need feedback to ensure your message was received. The guy got feedback. It was the wrong feedback. If they would have had time to talk, the guy that yelled pig would have been, "No, dude, I'm not talking about you. There's actually a fucking boar in the road you're going to hit. Be careful." But his feedback was too late. He was gone. So when you post a comment, there's no way to get feedback. So if you don't make it clear and right, then your message is going to be either confused, taken wrong, not understood. Man, I'm getting kind of a lot of junk in here. You see me kind of working this magazine well. I'm kind of getting a lot of material out of there. I know a lot of people like me to pull out this complete. Because I'm getting a lot of stuff, I'll just do a complete on this. I better make a part 2 because this has been going on for a while. So I'm going to pull out all my trigger, this trigger spring and everything. We'll just do a complete breakdown on this bad boy. And we'll make that a part 2. So come on back. Might have more stories.